for the last 24 hours. Had to reboot about, what, 5 times, Adam, to get this going,
Something like that.
uh, which is uh, which is funny, but great to catch up with you, brother.
You too,
Uh,
man.
how was your week?
Oh, it's good. It was, as anyone who's been listening long enough knows, I've been dealing with some hamstring issues, and that turned into dealing with insurance issues, which turned into dealing with the insurance exchange issues that I think I got resolved. So shout out to Minsure. But other than that, my week was pretty chill, which I will take given all the time I spent on the phone for everything I just mentioned.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I was in Vegas all week. It's good to be home though.
Oh, you at your WSWA?
Yeah, WSWA, it was good. It's funny, I got to meet a lot of people that I've done virtual calls with. The last couple of years, a lot of our broker partners came out and
Sure.
said hello, and got to meet a lot of customers we've talked to, and the whole bit. It was a really interesting show. Maybe that could be a little bit of a topic, talking about
Yeah.
conventions and what you get out of them. Might be good. I
Oh,
know we
man.
did that last year with Marshall and who was that? Dale,
Um, was it the attorney? Let's see.
escapes me this morning too. Lee.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
So
Um,
yeah, so we'll probably get into that. But before we get going, we were supposed to have a non-alcoholic drink on with us this morning, and he had to cancel last minute. He confirmed, and then he unconfirmed. So we're going freestyle today. Hopefully, I shot a number out to some folks, and maybe you can share some people to dial in if they want to join us in the conversation, or just pop in this morning and have a cup of
okay.
coffee and say hello for 3 minutes would be great. But we'll see. But before we get going, we always do I call out to some of our sponsors. Always calling out Mr. Jay Williams and Freebird. He seems to be lighting it up lately, which is great. Love to see him grow.
Wonderful.
Love sitting. I'm a fan. I know you're a fan too, Adam. But rooting
Oh
him
yeah.
on with his product, Alias Advising, your company where you can help people operations from the cans, the lids, how it's produced, what goes in that can, and really have real conversations with folks. Matter of fact, we were talking to a lot of folks at WSWA, which we'll get into shortly, that could use your services. And then certainly Bev Assets, Alicia Vargo, thanks for the sponsorship of Bev Assets. We got an opportunity to share our services with many people at WSWA this week. Obviously, our joint venture too, Frontline Beverage, and then our friend Ryan at Rocks Advisors.
Hmm.
We always appreciate him. Ryan, if you're seeing us talk, man, feel free to dial in. Adam can send you the link, and you can come in and join. You're always welcome. Pop ins for those that have seen us are always welcome to pop in. I put it out in I think the Drink Up Live chat or DM section of LinkedIn. So, with that being said, Adam, tough week with the hamstring and insurance, but it's all resolved.
It's getting there. The insurance, I think, is resolved. The hamstring is improving. It's just taking for fucking ever. So there's that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're getting there. I am curious because I do enjoy. I tell everybody, I tell a lot of new brand owners that I truly think the NBWA, the WSWA, and I always forget what the non-alc one's called. But all of those shows, I think, are for the money. I think they're a phenomenal value, right? Because they're not, an expo. They're not an IFT. And not that those shows don't have value. They just cost a little bit more to attend, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I'm curious because the last time I was at MBWA was 2024,
Yeah.
and I've never been to WSWA. So how was the show?
I'm going to say this politically correct. I think the show brings incredible value depending who you are.
Sure.
Okay, so for us, it was really good.
Yeah.
From our perspective, we're our two whys is one is to help people find work, and two is to do right by brands.
Sure.
So we got there on Monday, did the big setup because we were what do you call it, exhibitors.
Oh,
as
okay,
our
cool.
market. So we had an exhibit there with the
Yeah.
Frontline booth. We also had a couple of our clients, Frankie's and Lure, there with us. On the right side was Lure, on the left side was Frankie's,
Cool.
to show some of our brands. And we were able to connect with a lot of potential customers.
Sure.
So for us, it was good because we were able to see our broker partners, we were able to see potential clients and current
Mm-hmm.
clients,
Mm-hmm.
on the floor, at the forum in Las Vegas.
Sure.
But I would be curious, and I don't know if people are out there listening or if you see it later on, the people that actually, the vendors, the suppliers actually bought a booth and were on the floor. Was it a successful show or not? I don't suspect it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's why I always, and truly, if anybody wants to jump in the comments and tell us, I would genuinely be curious as well. I think that's always the feedback I give. The feedback I give to brands when they talk about, like, because this time of year especially, everybody loves to talk about Expo. And again, I'm not saying that there isn't value going to Expo. Of course there is, but again, for the right person. Um, but I always advocate for smaller brands, even just to get a ticket and go walk the show at like an MBWA or something like that, because yeah, you've got folks like yourself who, if nothing else, are great educators on kind of how the world works, right?
Yeah.
You've got other brands who have maybe done a little more, seen a little more, who you could also learn from. And then you've got groups of distributors roaming the floor, potentially looking for new brands to carry. And so, like, all three target rich buckets for learning something, if nothing else, making useful business connections, right?
So that's what was missing at WSWA. There were distributors there. They weren't walking the floor.
Really?
No. So how it's set up, and I'm not calling out the distributors.
No, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
So look, I see them as great partners in who they are.
sure.
And I did see a couple, and I did talk to a couple of friends from some distributors and gave them my feelings of the lack of distributors being on the floor. There was a
Sure.
few, but the main ones people want to talk to, and we can maybe talk about if you go to a show like this, how you find them in the future,
Mm-hmm.
because it's really
Totally.
important how you work a show. Like Marshall, our friend Marshall knows how to work a conference very
Yes, he
effectively,
does.
right?
Yes.
Right. And I don't necessarily know that you need a booth in order to find a distributor, by the way.
Well, for
Your
sure.
your money might be spent in a better way to
Yeah.
go do that. And we could probably get into that, right? Loved some of the booths that people had. They were great. But the distributors were out in the hallways. They were out in the conference rooms and they were out in the restaurants having meetings.
Interesting. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So when you walk into the forum, and this is how WSWA is set up, RNDC has their room, Breakthrough Beverage has their room, Southern Glacier Wine Spirits has their room, the big
Okay.
suppliers have their room, some of the big service agencies have their room as well. So all those meetings are happening at WSWA, and that's a good thing.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I ran into one of my old bosses from Diageo, Tom Schlackenhoven. Tom, if you catch this, it was great seeing you. A quick 5 minute, hey, Tom,
Sure.
high five, and we went around our ways. But I'm like, Tom, why are you here? And he's like, well, I'm here to have a meeting with people. So he had preset
Yeah.
meetings to come to WSWA, probably to talk to his distributor that represents his brand or his
Yeah.
distributors at various states, right? Tom's an
Right.
executive, met with people.
Yeah.
So for that standpoint, it was a success for distributors and success for those that had those meetings with those distributors about their brands. Another company called Proghorn, great company. Matter of fact, they had a great display. Like when you come down the escalators, you see this beautiful display. And what Proghorn is they help like diverse brands come to market, right?
Okay.
And they
Sure.
provide an incredible service, and they're supported by Diageo's arm
Okay.
with that, and very successful show for them. They're like they can't miss them. You're coming down the escalator, they're serving drinks, you can talk to them, and they're able
Sure.
to do some collaborating meetings. So I think for them, they were able to help their clients find distributors, the whole bit.
Sure.
So. But I think when you're like on the floor and in the moment, maybe people had a great show. For us, it was a really good show, and we're able to help clients as well.
Good. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Which, by the way, Chris, and I'm sure I'm going to get this wrong, but Sikanolfi uh, jumped into the chat and just said, Sam. So seems excited to see you this morning, founder, president, and CEO of Pour Proof. So good morning, Chris.
Yeah, Chris has been a great supporter, partner in what we do. And matter of fact, he was at the show, and we were able to bring him clients, and he brings us clients as well. And we were able to help all those people on the floor, which is what made my heart
Sure.
warm too, because if everybody's coming there to find distribution. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
there was a brand, I'll remain nameless just to be out of respect, but it was right across from us. They had this beautiful, like, they must have spent $100,000 on this great display. And it's a father
Sure.
that owns an ethanol company out of Guadalajara, Mexico, and his two sons.
Okay.
And they were making drinks and serving them, beautiful bottle, and it's a rum out of Mexico.
Okay.
And I asked them why they were there, and they were there to find distributors. So, we're
Right.
going to have a meeting with them next week, and we definitely can bring them in the U.S., give them a path, and help
Sure.
them, find an importer or import it for them, and then figure out where they want to go and set up the commercial plan and route to market to go help them. So, look, they made that. I don't know if they need to make that investment, but we would have never seen them if they weren't there. And now we know them, we can help them, right? And I'm sure they talk to some other people that are going to, explore and determine if they can help them or not too. So,
Sure. No, that's great. A, I'm glad to hear that, but B, I'm just fascinated by the feedback because when I was in, again, it's been 2 years ish. But last time I was at NBWA, it was, most of the booths, not all, but most of the booths were individual brands, and most of the people walking the floor were representatives from distributors, right? And I'm not saying that every person walking the floor was a decision maker somewhere, but they were at least, account reps or executives or brand managers or whatever from the distributors. So for me, it was super insightful having been, never been there before to see like, oh, literally everybody that walks up could be a potential distributor for us. But it sounds like that wasn't the case at WSWA this time around.
well, it's funny you say about MBWA. I told people, matter of fact, I told a couple of distributors and one person that actually sits on the WSWA board.
Hmm.
And I told him, I said, you guys need to take a page out of MBWA's book. He goes, what do
Okay,
you mean?
sure.
I said, when you go to MBWA, the members are walking the floor and they're doing business on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's these suppliers that are trying to find distribution, and some suppliers leave there with like 5 or 6 new locations that they found distribution for. I mean, you
That's why I thought it was so
experienced
fucking cool.
right?
Yeah.
And we'll be at MBWA, and he said that one of the reasons he's walking the floor is that he knows it's a problem. And again,
Sure.
it's not an attack on any distributor out
No.
there.
No.
My only ask is if a distributor catches this and you're part of WSWA and you go to it next year, please go walk the floor. Here's a true story. So they had like this tasting event in the evening, and we got a little tasting area for Frankie's and Lure, and Jeff from Lure, the founder, set up his like keychains and had decants to talk about. You can't taste cannabis brands in Las Vegas, by the way, cannabis
Sure.
products. Then I had Frankie's guys, Ryan Shea, founder of Entrepreneur Magazines, also owns a company called Green Lumber and owns like 5 other different businesses and brands. Opened up by the way, a 3PL co-packer in Denver, so I'll connect you too.
Oh,
In fact,
please,
he's actually
yeah.
opening it up in Denver. Maybe could use some of your ideas and expertise. So Alicia and I will introduce you to Ryan, or Alicia can. But anyway, so we're sitting there and we're kind of in the back, but there's like I don't know, about 100 different brands that are there, and people are supposed to be walking the floor. How many distributors do you think were walking that floor?
Right. Yeah.
Very,
Not many.
very, very not many.
Not many.
It's all the
Yeah.
service providers, brokers, people that can probably help these brands, but not too many distributors. The decision makers were not walking that floor, and people spent. That cost us that little evening was like about $1,500.
Right.
Just at the little section for my brands. Now, here's a true story. I talked to a distributor, and he came by, and I was so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, we got a distributor out of California, right? I'm like, hey Ryan, meet this distributor meet Ryan, the whole bit. And I said, hey, are you looking for brands? He stepped back, not really.
Then what are you
I'm
doing
like,
there?
"What?" He goes, we got to be very selective right now in the brands that we bring in.
No shit.
Yeah, he
Doesn't
said,
mean you're not looking for
right?
them.
Right. So you sell people to come to this show, and you tell my client right here that you're not really looking for brands. And this brand, by the way, Frankie's is going to be one of the hottest brands in North America. $24.99 for a bourbon, 5-year-old, by the way, in a bottle, from Kentucky. And then 1999 vodka and 1999 whiskey, which basically comes from the bourbon that he gets from the barrels, right? And he said, yeah, we're not really looking for brands. We're all full right now. And what I thought from that conversation, what do you think went to my mind right away?
I mean, what comes to my mind is, what are you doing here?
You read my mind. Why are you here?
Right.
What is your purpose of being here? Now, maybe he was here for a meeting with one of his current clients. That's what I suspect was going on, that they were meeting with their current people, but they weren't looking for anyone new. Do you know how fucked up that is? And I'm sorry for cussing.
I love it. I love it.
You grew up.
Right? You've become, one of us, Sam. No, man, I having not been there, I feel a little bit of your pain, because I have the same conversation, whether it's, brands, whether it's on the brand side or the co-packer side or the distributor side or the consultant side or the service provider side. Like, I've not done beverage aside, right? Like retail, radio, all the various jobs I've had over the years, whatever. Like, I've not done all sales, right? But anybody who listens to me talk for more than 5 fucking minutes knows I've made a living selling something, right? So, fine. Like, almost nothing frustrates me more than talking to people who are in a sales or business development or growth or whatever you want to call it role, who say things like, oh, we're full right now. I don't give a fuck, right? Because you may not be full in 3 months, and if you aren't filling that funnel with conversations now, 3 months from now is going to get real uncomfortable. The fuck are you talking about? You're full. I'm not. Be selective. Be picky. Absolutely. Like, pick your favorite people and only work with them. But that doesn't mean you can't go talk to 200 people, because we all know the name of the game is numbers. You talk to 200, you'll close 2.
Yeah.
Like, Oh,
yeah, it drove me nuts. That comment is like I'm thinking to myself, why are you here? And then I'm thinking, look, I know that the industry's going through a tough time right now. I mean, look, we do the daily podcast news brief, and thanks for sending those videos. I'll get them up for the weekend. But the point is, we do this as we know that I don't think it's Armageddon, but we know wine is down. We know spirits. The only growth on spirits is tequila and RTDs at the end of the day. And then there's a massive decline in, I guess, wine. And beer is basically, this NA beer is actually helping the beer category.
Sure.
Quite frankly.
And you tell me if I'm right or wrong here, but from my perspective, even from my own business, right? Speaking purely for myself, but I assume this extends to others, right? If I know that generally speaking, shit's down on average overall, then my desire to talk to people who are still willing to fight, like brands, who are still willing to fight the good fight, even though things are down, actually goes up. I'm like, oh, well, they're trying to fight their way through the storm. They must really give a shit. I would like to talk to them, right? Like,
so I've been talking about it's on the same wavelength, and maybe we'll get into it in a second.
Sure.
But I've been talking about the NA category and alcohol. I think I posted something about this morning, right? And within the NA category, it's less than 3% of the adult beverage business, right? But it's growing really rapidly, right? And it's just a serious category you got to take serious. And it drives ticket ring, it drives basket ring, and it helps the retailer. I can tell you, it's going to drive a trip to your location, right? There's no difference if I'm a distributor and I look at my book. What they've been doing is they've been thinning the herd, and they call it the long tail suppliers. I get it. But there needs, and Alicia, if you're listening, maybe you're here, maybe you're not.
She's here.
She's here, okay. So we need to have these retailers and these large distributors to carve out. We tried to do it calling it the craft division and the whole bit, or developing division, but for some reason you need to bring it back. You need, like Walmart, Publix, you need to work with smaller wholesalers to give these brands a path to market. Distributors, you need to go back and say, wait a minute, we've cut too far. Let's give these people a path. It doesn't have to be hundreds of people to go do it, because guess what? Frontline Beverage, we have the sales force to go do it. You don't even need a sales force. Just give us a path through distribution. We'll put the body on the ground. And retailers, take the meeting with the supplier that's developing and give them an opportunity, because guess what? The next Tito's and the next Buzzballs is sitting out there, and you need to give them a fucking path.
So, A, couldn't agree
Sorry
more.
for the
B,
profanity.
I have to keep refreshing my LinkedIn
Yeah.
because there's some in the comments that I'm about to read. Uh, my LinkedIn comments only update when I refresh the page. So Alicia is here. She said, frontline Bev assets, Alias advising. Let's just put up a booth next year at WSWA, just like a lemonade stand with a sign over it that just says distribution, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's do it MBW this year. Let's bring Rocks. Let's bring
Right.
Alias. Let's bring Bev Assets, Frontline. We'll do one fucking booth. We'll do it like 8 feet to 10 feet wide.
If I thought I'd be in town, I'm pretty sure I'll be out of the country, but I would absolutely go because it's so. Other comments just to get
I'll
through.
represent you there, Adam. You just get me coached.
I appreciate it. So Ryan Series says good morning. Alicia echoes that it's fucked up. Jay jumped in to say that it's complacency and some distributors are just lazy.
He said he didn't say that.
He also did not say that. We'll redact that from the record, Jay. No, I said it the other day, and it's why I love working with the super green brands, because everybody, it doesn't matter what service type business they're in. Everybody is like, well, I want to work with the next Celsius, or I want to work with the next so and so. And sometimes I talked to a guy the other day from Ingredion who was like, yep, like we don't really work too much with small brands anymore, but we're great at, if you have a formula, we can help you make it more efficient. We can maybe combine some things. Okay, great. That's a service offering that fits for a little bit larger brand. That makes sense. But when I have, large groups telling me we want the next Celsius, we want the next Monster, whatever, but then they tell me what their service offering is, I was like, well, either you get really lucky and you find somebody with millions of dollars who knows you and only you and comes and wants to make a brand, which does happen, but okay, there's that. Or you go fucking talk to thousands of the little guy and you get one that becomes the next big thing 10 years from now. Like,
Right.
Those are your options. I don't know where this whole, like, I'm just going to go pluck Celsius from all of their current partners and they're just going to leave them for me fucking bullshit ideas come from. But for some reason, people think that's the way it's going to work. And
Yeah, it's
kills me.
funny you said that. That's been on my mind too, about brokers, and God bless brokers. I'm the biggest fan of brokers in North America, that broker business. Um, and often a brand will show up with us and we'll say, well, why are you here? Well, the last guy didn't do a good job for me. Right.
Yeah.
And this just ties in what you're saying. I'll just tell my broker story really quick though. But
Yeah,
the
no,
first
please.
broker actually inches the door up 1 inch, right? And then the founder gets upset and says, you're fired. Goes to the next
Right.
broker. Next broker goes from 1 inch to 2 inch. Founder gets upset and says, you're fired. The third broker takes it from 2 inches and busts it open for about a foot. Still not good enough. The founder says, you're fired. Founder goes to broker number 4. Broker number 4 just blows the door wide open. Oh my gosh, it's the second coming of Christ. The sun can see it, the whole bit, and my brand is now gonna see the light, and we're gonna be starting selling some stuff. Do you know what the miss was on that by the founder?
All the first brokers did all the foundational work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're the ones that made the product known. They're the ones that Dave Martin calling them out, proof of concept. They're the ones that built the proof of concept. They did the work, but the patience was missing from the founder. Sorry, founders out there, but it takes time to build a brand when you're new. No one knows who you are. They don't care who you are. You got to prove it, one account at a time, one stop at a time, one door at a time, one distributor at a time, one customer at a time. And that's what broker number 1, 2, and 3 did for you. So I just want everybody to be more self-aware about your patience of developing a brand, because it does take time. And how does that tie into distributors? I'm sorry, and then I'll shut up.
No, go ahead.
Distributors will say, you arrive at them, a big distributor, well, where are you selling? The chicken and the egg problem. What do you mean? That's why I'm going to give you 30% of my profit for you to sell my product. They want to know who you currently distributing, what is your velocity, and where are you selling. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I'm a new brand. I need a path. And that was my point earlier. Give these new brands a path. If they're willing to invest in your market, willing to put boots on the ground, willing to do activations, they have well-supported marketing behind them, and the liquid's good in the can, and the price is right, give them a shot.
I wonder, Sam, because I'm trying to think back, and I'm not going to say I remember every podcast guest off the top of my head right now.
Yeah.
Have we ever had? Because I'm sure you especially, and I might even know a couple. I'm sure we could get some. Like I'm thinking about like Johnson Brothers here in Minnesota. Like I've got a couple. Shout out to Rick
Yeah.
Gebhardt and a couple of the folks over at Johnson Brothers. Like I'm sure we could get one or two of them on the show. But like, I think like I guess where my brain's going is like getting somebody like that either on or having them even just send it over via email and being like, on average, like I personally as ops consultant would be super curious to know on average how many brokers does a brand work with at like from the distributor's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like Johnson Brothers signs on a client and 3 years later Johnson Brothers is looking at that brand going, well fucking A, like they've changed brokers 8 times or they've changed their feet on the street. You know what I mean? Right? And hearing it from the distributor side of how, you know, maybe cumbersome that is, how frustrating that could be, how much time that takes, how much education there is in between, right? And then framing it for these, whether it's for these shows or whatever, of just like, and I tell co-packers this all the time, like, if you're a co-packer and I talk to you, like, please tell me what you won't do. Because then I will set that line with you.
We should have a panel, number one, with a broker, a co-packer, a distributor, and have an honest conversation. But I don't think we've really had a distributor from their standpoint. I would love, I'm sure between you, Alicia, myself, we can get a distributor on here. Because I think everybody would love to hear from their standpoint, to be fair to them. Because it's not, again, distributors are the lifeblood of adult beverage category in our industry. They go hit accounts every day, and it's a thankless job getting the product from the warehouse to the shelf. It's not easy, and it's a penny's business at the end of the day. So they do have to be strategic in what they do, right? So I think that would be a nice mission, Alicia Vargo, to find us a distributor, or Adam or someone out there, or a distributor. If you just happen to catch this and you want to come on to Drink Up Live, please do. And I'll reach out to some people I know that maybe they're willing to have a conversation with us.
Yeah, I'll text Rick and see what he's doing these days, because it's been a while since we caught up. But yeah, I mean, again, even just statistically speaking, from my perspective, when I talk to new brands, I mean, obviously I give them everything we just talked about, generally speaking, of like the distributor's not going to do all the work for you. You've still got to go have a plan. You've still got to be able to support the retailers. You've got to be opening new retailers, right? But having like some of the data around like from a distributor's perspective, and I'll use Rick as my placeholder, so like Johnson Brothers from his perspective, if you just frame it within new brands, how long does it take before they're getting even remotely consistent pull through? Is it 3 months? Is it 6? How many brokers do they go through in the first year, right? How much time does the distributor lose? Like how much money in labor costs do they lose every time a brand changes brokers? Because there has to be a number to that.
Oh,
right?
Big time.
Yeah, right? Like all of that, even for me, even for somebody who's never going to take any action with that data, would be phenomenal for setting expectations and entry level conversations when brand owners are trying to understand how distribution works, right?
Yeah, that's something it's something we should work on for sure. You want to grab these comments? There've been some interesting ones. Why don't you read through them?
Yeah, no. Ryan said he's in for the. I'm assuming he means the NBWA piece.
Cool.
We got Jeff from Brandartica here. Ryan again. We hear that about everything: broker, vendor, formulator, which is fucking true. Jeff said, if they say we want the next Celsius to us, we would. I would say, I'm assuming that's probably. We would probably graciously bow out. Ryan and I have had a few of those this week. Jeff also said, founder, I just want to make the product. I don't really want to be the face of the brand, which, again, we also hear a fair amount and is problematic. And then Jeff Fight. Welcome, Jeff. I don't know you, but I'm assuming you know Sam.
Yeah, he's in Minnesota, by the way. I'll get you guys together. Great guy.
Oh, cool. Hell yeah. He said everyone thinks they are the next George Clooney, which we also hear, right? Yeah. yeah. Anyway, we got hot there for a while, but it's good. I mean, I think that's the type of stuff where like both sides
Did
are
you
coming
capture
with
Jay's comment? In my next life, I'm going to be the chicken and the egg. I'm not even.
fucking smart ass.
Cheers.
Oh my
Cheers,
god,
Jay, if you're
right?
here, but us still.
Oh, it's funny. No, I mean it's again, it just frustrates me when people on any side are unwilling to at least come to the table and have a conversation, even if it leads nowhere, right? Like there's value in understanding that person's perspective, where they're coming from, what they need, what they don't need, right? Like,
I told Buzzballs, my boss and I, Brad Redenius, they came calling on us when they were new, and we said no. You know why?
hmm,
One, they were new, and two, we felt like it was not really appropriate. We felt like it was going
okay,
after like the shot crowd, and we were kind of like, we want to be
mm,
more about, drinking responsibility. What a miss on our part, right? We had
yeah,
this
yeah,
bias about it, right? At the end of the day, but what we didn't know
sure,
is like every female in North America wants that like tennis ball, can, and it just really, matched up with what they want. I believe that's one of their target audiences. And Tito's, I can tell you, back in 2013, we told them they could have two GSMs a year and maybe a couple incentives. And no one
sure,
in Minnesota wanted Tito's. I mean, like, I don't want
sure,
that. I got Absolute and Kettle One, and
yeah.
why would I need that on my back bar?
Yeah, but I mean, again, right? Like, even, and I applaud you for falling on the sword of, admitting your mistake. But even that, right? Like, you still had the conversation. You still at least talked to them. You still got an understanding. It wasn't a situation, and not that everybody's perfect. I'm sure we all have moments where it's like, yeah, I just don't have time. I'm not going to talk to this person.
Yeah.
But by and large, right? Like, it doesn't mean you're not still going to say no or not right now to an opportunity. But just the fact that you sat down and talked to them, were like, hey, I'm not picking up what you're putting down, but maybe somebody else will. Best of luck. Nothing fucking wrong with that, but at least have the discussion, right? Yeah.
I think Jay
Mm.
said cheers, y'all. I think Jay. So I'm looking for the TikTok video of you still listening, and if you laying like, are you gonna go back and lay down on the bed? Just change your pillows. But anyway, I'm rooting you on. Thanks for stopping by, brother.
Oh shit. It's funny. What else? That was a good run there for a while. What else do we want to get into today?
Oh, so Dave Moore said, hold on real quick. I just want to get some through his comments. So we just a
Oh
couple
yeah, we got
comments.
now the comments blowing up. My LinkedIn's too
Yeah.
slow.
Yeah, hit me up, Sam. I don't claim to know everything about three tier, but I did write a book about it. Yes, you did. You were on thing. I have enough experience to have an opinion. I was a distributor for almost 20 years, and I currently work with brokers to help grow my brand. Working with some brokers in some markets makes sense for me. So it'd be interesting,
Sounds like I think.
Dave, participate. Give us some of your thoughts. You have the number. I think you're part of our community. You can dial in too. Just stop in. Anyway, what do you see?
I was like, I did read. He looks. Yeah, I did read Dave's book. I bought it after we talked to him.
Yeah, it's.
Uh,
I always have it right with me here, man. It's one of my. There you go, Dave. Shout out right here if you're
yes,
looking.
yes, I did read Dave's book.
Yes,
Um,
it's Dave Moore right there.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we could go on about that for hours, but no, I mean, I'll stop rambling. Uh, so before we go, because we got 10, 20 minutes left. I think the other, and for everybody that's listening, this will sound like I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm going to say it anyway because Ryan and I have been going through this week. Like, I'm going to say this politely, and I'm not going to name names. Uh, when people do give you the time of day for a discussion, meaning folks like myself, folks like Sam, folks like Ryan, folks like Dave, Jeff, Alicia, the list goes on. Uh, if you're a new brand and you immediately jump to, whether it's a co-pack or anybody else, you immediately jump to, well, this contract has to be set up 6 ways from Sunday so that, if somebody sneezes in the wrong direction and the wind's blowing too hard, I'm going to sue the pants off you. Goodbye. Right? So, like, on the brand side, like,
Yeah,
understand that, yes, what you're doing may be unique and we want to help you, but also it's not so special that we are willing to jeopardize our entire business for what you are looking to do. Right?
yeah,
We've had a little bit of that this week, and it's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. I mean, it really comes down to some of the people we've talked about, right? When you come to market, Roger B. Lee, that's the attorney, by the way, take advantage of his, startup
Mhm.
package to make sure that you have your entity set up. We've talked to IP attorneys as well on here. Make sure you talk to an IP attorney to get your intellectual property set up and you get your trademarks rolling, right? Do due
Mhm.
diligence. Talk to
Yeah.
Adam when you're looking at like coming out with a product. Look at before you go talk to a bunch of formulators and start with Adam. He has the Rolodex to go talk to those folks. It's probably going to be 20 grand of like investment before you even like hit go. I mean, I made that
Mhm.
number. That's a number I made up in my head.
No, I mean you're in the ballpark for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of, this is where I'm being very random because I have the opportunity to. Um, if anybody listening knows any formulators specific to the European Union, please let me know. Ryan and I over at Rocks have an opportunity for a group that wants to launch product, which Sam, you're going to get, I think, looped into this conversation based on what they're looking for. But um, they want to launch product in both the U.S. non-alc in both the U.S. and Europe. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's the general piece. And uh, apparently in the EU or in Spain, I just read the note this morning. If you formulate it there, like local to that country, you get like an 80% rebate through the government or something, which I'd never heard of, but I have no
Wow.
reason not to believe. Right. So, hey, come on, guys. We're watching another friend's dog. Uh, guys, so if anybody knows formulators that you trust in the EU, I've got a couple folks, but they're in the UK. So unfortunately, not a fit. Please let me know because yeah, we'll see where this one goes. But it's an interesting opportunity.
That is super interesting in terms of definitely make it there if you get the rebate. I mean, there's a lot of things I need to talk to you offline about.
Sure.
In terms of how brands are made here. It seems like people make a brand in a particular location and then they pay all this massive freight across the U.S. I'll leave it at that. I think there's a
100%.
huge opportunity to stop doing
Yep.
that in terms of how your brand comes to market because let's face it, freight's going to continue to go up. It just
Yeah.
is.
No, that's this group is exactly what we're talking about. I'm like, guys, I know like I know formulations groups that I have relationships with here in the US that have, offices or facilities abroad. Like we could still get it done. But then they brought up this 80% rebate thing and they're like, no, if we could get the formula work actually done over here, I'm like, maybe
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to kick some tires on that. I don't work really in Europe at all right now, but I would love to. Sounds fun. So we'll see. But um, well, we got about 15 minutes left. What else do you want to go over today?
I think he's trying to run everybody. He's like, I got to go, man. I got a busy day. I got dogs here rolling and stuff like that. Um,
No, yeah, I do have dogs here.
Maybe just talk a little bit about what's in the news and the chatter. What are you hearing?
Hmm.
So, like here, I'll throw it out there. So,
Mm-hmm.
Stoli, obviously, you know, Chapter 11, I think they've converted whatever. So, they're basically closing
Oh,
down, right?
wow!
So
I
that's
didn't.
going to
Yeah,
be a
I have not
massive
heard.
impact on the industry.
Hmm.
Where does all that go? The other thing in the news is there's a lot of whiskey still sitting in barrels.
Okay, sure,
Okay. So,
sure.
what's the next move, right? Obviously, we've heard that like Beam has reduced production. I'm sure others have as well, right? So
Right.
they're not producing, they're slowing down what they're producing because they got 20 years worth of inventory. So something to think about, what does a producer do? What does an
Mm-hmm.
operator do and a distributor in this case with the slowdown? Do prices come down? Do they stay up? What are you seeing?
Oh God. I mean, this is such a bad answer to this question because it's a good question. I've been in such a fucking gopher hole for the last month that I have not, I have barely had time to lift my head up and see which way the wind's blowing. Um, the one that came in, I'll come back to your question, I promise. The one that came across mine the other day, and I haven't really looked into it much, was Minute Maid cutting their frozen juice line, which I just found interesting after 80 years. Um, but no, I mean I think just in general and this is more the ops side than it is the pricing side, right? Like all of these canned cocktail brands looking at. I mean, I had a conversation with one that you introduced me to, you and Alicia,
Yeah.
who's using a rum, but all of these canned cocktail brands using named spirits, right? Like for years, I've been telling folks, hey, like I'm not saying you have to, but from a cost cutting perspective, if you want to use GNS and top it up with a flavor, or you want to use a blend of GNS and a named spirit, whatever, like there's ways to get creative with your tax implications there. So, to your point on the whiskey, right? From an ops guy's perspective, it's like, well, okay, like see how things shake. But if whiskey prices drop and you can use a named spirit and offer that, as a marketing tactic, right, at a competitive price, maybe there's a needle to thread there, right?
Yeah, 100. I mean, cognac has 11 years worth of inventory, and whiskey has 20 years worth of it. There's an opportunity, someone out there, be it like the barrel brokers, to move some, whiskey and some, there's an opportunity for sure. I want to. This comes up. This is kind of in the news too, by the way. So, a friend of mine posted from Booze Biz, Caitlin, her concerns that she's heard more rumors of layoffs in her industry. And Caitlin said, "Hey, look, I'm here to help if you need a job." So layoffs are big in our industry right now, and I heard that from a couple people to rename my name that that's going to continue on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to call it Dave. Dave Moore. You're absolutely right. Because we need to find a way for distributor reps and managers who have recently lost their jobs to stay in the business. We need their expertise and access to buyers. I hope the broker model evolves and creates opportunity for those veterans in the business. Dave, I'll tell you this right now. Frontline Beverage has 100 sales agents dispersed across North America. So if someone's looking for a job and opportunity, we have many, many suppliers that are looking for people just like you. If you're seeing this right now, call Alicia Vargo, myself, or Paul Henson. We can put you to work right now. And we would love to have your expertise because that's why this model was built. Because distributors, too, if you need to help those long tail, and this is not an advertisement, it's just answering Dave's question here, is that we want to talk to you. You have value. And by the way, I've lost my job 3 times. And the last time I lost it, I didn't know where I was going to go and who I was going to turn to. And that's why we developed this, to help people find work and do right by brands. So absolutely, Dave, the model's in place, it's running, and it's very effective. And by the way, we can help Shug too, by the way. I mean, just give us a call and we're happy to help you, brother.
Yeah, no, I'm going to echo that. I mean, I would love to get him on the show as well, but I had beers last night with Fido. We did a little double date with the wives at a local brewery here. So Fido, the guy who runs the lab now, since I left, so for the last couple of years, and had a great time, had a good conversation. Didn't talk completely about work, but anytime we get together, it's just a who's who of folks that we know that we worked with for years who got laid off from whatever large company they were working for before, right? Don't get me wrong, right? Like shit happens, and again, I'm not here to speak ill of any large company because they got to do what they got to do and they operate in certain ways. But yeah, I mean that.
Hey, look, layoffs are real, and I'd love to see, like Joshua. Congratulations, man, getting that job, and definitely I'll take you up on the nutraceuticals or whatever you're working with. Yeah, let's get together, break bread, and we'll you, myself, and Adam can celebrate them. I'm super happy for you. But it's real. By the way,
that's
Ryan,
a prime example.
What's that? Go ahead.
I said that's a prime example of with Josh. Like, I personally don't want the institutional knowledge from people like that to leave the industry. Right?
100%. We talking about Joshua. Yeah, his relationships. Alicia and I were talking like, okay, we need to find a distributor over here. And she's like, Joshua. Like, Joshua. I'm like, yeah, he can help. And by the way, Joshua, hopefully he can still help us. Well, we really, really appreciate the partnership. Before I forget, Ryan mentioned, he goes, They need to work with a company called Liquid Assets. You guys know Morgan Salzman? I
I
think.
don't, but he might.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Morgan's a dear friend, so Ryan, that's great. She's we work with her, and we do refer business, especially when people are looking for barrels. Morgan's been on the she's on the the Forbes magazine 30 under 30, by the way, which is
Cool.
pretty impressive. And she's a great partner of ours, and definitely I think that's who you're referring to. We could definitely she does that. They have barrel houses all through Bardstown, and she definitely knows that part of the business. So if anybody's looking, you could certainly talk to. And interesting, all the people we know in our Rolodex. If you show up here on a Saturday, or maybe catch us on a happy hour, we're probably going to introduce you to someone really interesting that can help your business. Because
Right.
I'm the first to admit I don't have all the answers, but I've learned incredible stuff from like you, Adam, and the business. So yeah, layoffs are
Ditto.
big in the news. What else is big in the news? This whole like I think there was a lot of chatter and noise around dry January. Every time I would like run my daily news brief, I have like this algorithm I use to like go through. I use Perplexity,
Okay.
and it scrubs all the articles. I look at Mark Brown just to try to educate myself. And I swear, every time the headline
Sure.
was "NA is growing and alcohol is dead" was basically the message. And it just isn't
Right.
true, by the way. NA is growing is true, but
Right.
alcohol is absolutely not dead. It's still 95% of the adult beverage category. But what's interesting in the news in the chatter is it seems to be everybody's talking about, hey, I'm sober curious. I had a drinking problem. I went to NA. And I think that's great.
Hmm.
And I'm rooting for you. If
Hmm.
you had that problem, we want to see you, have something available. But I think it's much bigger than that. NA is much bigger than that. And it's about
Hmm.
occasions. I think it's not about I'm being mindful. It's about, hey, look, I'm out tonight. Maybe I'm going to have my scotch and whiskey or my old fashioned, but later on I'm going to have hey, I'm going to have Jay Bird's Free Bird, right? At the end of the day. But if you can develop products that meet the consumer's occasions, wants, and needs, it's not necessarily I don't drink alcohol or only drink NA. It's about today I'm going to drink a nice NA old fashioned. Tomorrow I'm going to have a full
Hmm.
strength old fashioned. And that's all over the news. And I think it's a conversation. Perhaps maybe we could have like someone that's like the far like alcohol focused, and other one's like totally NA, and get them together on this show to have them have a
Sure.
conversation. Would be really interesting.
No, I mean, I agree. I think my this is me throwing darts at a wall. So I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not even saying I think I'm right. It's
Yeah,
just a thought I had the other day.
yeah.
'Cause Bree and I, when my wife and I were talking, I truly think wine, wine, uh, values spirits and like larger format, either well, not larger format, but occasion based, right? RTDs. Um, in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see a resurgence, whether it's alk or non-alk, right? Um, just because, right? Like aluminum's always a bitch. It just
Well, did
is.
you see that Ball
Yeah.
Corporation? They're
Hmm.
completely booked for
Hmm.
2026. They're sold out.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So
That
I
was the
think
headline, by the way.
yeah,
Ball is sold
100%.
out. Yeah.
So I think aluminum's always a bitch, which I mean doesn't help me, but we'll find solutions what we get paid for. But yeah, I think occasion-based drinking, whether that's alc or non-alc, is only going to continue to increase as prices do what prices do. The economy does what the economy does, right? Like I'm not saying gone completely are the days of taking a 24 pack of anything, whether
Yeah.
it's, a Spindrift or Bud Light to the lake and crushing the whole fucking thing in 6 hours, but
Yeah.
it's probably happening less, right? Just because why? Right? Like, why spend the money on that when you could just go buy a bottle or two of something else, spend a little bit less, and be able to share it with people, right?
Yeah.
Like, eh. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the people that win in the future are going to understand occasions and arrive at those occasions where people want and need that. You got to deliver
Hmm.
what people want. And if
Mhm.
I'm an operator today, my menu or my shelf should reflect that. If I'm a
Mhm.
distributor,
Mhm.
my warehouse and what I put in my sales people's bags should reflect that. And if I'm a supplier, I should develop my brands based on that. That's
Mhm.
the people that are going to win. You got to be aware of where the industry's going. Alcohol is not dead. It's
Mhm.
still 95% of the business. NA is about 3% of that occasion. Of NA, by the way,
Sure.
water is a huge part of it, and soda. There you go, Jay Bird. You're a big part of it. And beer is 87% of the adult drinking category, but wine and spirits are growing rapidly, thousands of percents, these great products. So they
Yeah.
definitely deserve an opportunity to be inside a distributor, to be on that shelf or that menu with the operator, and certainly, have those sales people's bags, filled with those products and opportunities. Meet them where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just talking to he's another Minnesotan with us. I don't know if you know him, Jeff Cerise with Hobby Farmer.
No.
You know Jeff?
No.
Um, I should put you guys in touch. So Jeff is I've known Jeff for years. We used to do work with him at Bev Source in the lab. He's a really good dude. Like I said, local guy, ran a photography business for years. But he's got a non-alc product, and was talking to me the other day with some other local folks, and he was just lamenting the slowdown on things. And it's shit that I learned from you, right? Or conversations that we've had where he was like, yeah, accounts are down. I was like, Jeff, how many on-premise
Right.
accounts are you in? He goes, you mean like bars and restaurants? I said, yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, well, a couple. And I said, why only a couple? And he's like, well, yeah. Like he got there before I even had to say it, right? And I was like, dude, everybody, I mean, personally speaking, and I don't go out to eat a ton, but when I do, like the NA menu is essentially like a Diet Coke, maybe an Athletic Brewing offering, maybe like a Heineken Zero or something, but it's pretty minimal.
Oh, they offer
And here
Shirley
you have
Temple's
this,
called
it's a
mocktails, the Shirley Temple mocktails, straight up sugar, by the way. And they in like
right.
17.99, you can get a Shirley Temple. It used to be like $3.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's right,
Sorry,
and
go
that's
ahead.
the thing. I was like, dude, you're like,
Yeah.
no, but I said your product COGS is pretty good. You could easily retail at a bar, restaurant, whatever for $4 or $5, which is a lot more reasonable to your point than a $17 non-out cocktail,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Well,
And
that,
kind
I
of
mean, it's
problem
funny.
solved.
Why are these brands coming out and trying to price themselves like a frickin' 20-year-old bourbon? Come on. Like, of you, there's gonna be someone that's gonna come into market, by the way. And I'm not saying that there's not an NA product that deserves to be higher priced, depending how it's made or whatever.
Sure.
I'm not saying that. But there's an opportunity for you to come in at a price like water with your product
Mm-hmm.
and actually gain some market share and do an incredible service, to your point.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it, maybe I'm getting beyond my skis here, but we ought to like digging this. How much does it really take to make a mocktail in a can?
I mean, it depends on a lot of variables, but typically new brand, you're around $1 a can, give or take.
Okay. Okay. So you theoretically could get that to market around $2 to 250 a can
Yeah.
after the distributor takes this margin. So maybe the highest $3. So 3, 6, 9, 12. So there, a lot of them are there. Like a lot of them are even below that. So I think they are. And then if they get the
Yeah.
volume, their can cost is probably down around 75 cents to 80 cents, right?
Yeah, I mean, the typical numbers I run for folks are you're going to start somewhere depending again on what's in it, because functionals can get spendy and juice and blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
um, you're probably going to come in at between $1 and $1.20, like first run, very
Yeah.
first time it's ever made, right? Small, super small volumes, MOQs, all that shit. Um, and then yeah, over time, the lowest you're probably going to get it within a co-packing relationship is 60 to 70 cents a can.
Yeah.
But again, right, like you figure 30 to 40% margin the whole way, you can still be around that 350 mark to the end customer, right? Which is not atrocious depending on the occasion, right?
Well, maybe the next, I know people are doing this, but maybe we should start putting them into paper, recyclable paper for less cost, or putting them into Tetra Packs for less cost. I don't know. I want to explore that. I mean, the mode of delivery, because it seems like cans are getting awfully expensive with aluminum. So,
I mean, they are,
is
but
there
it's.
is there
This
a
is
I
no.
mean, is there a and I know we got to go, but is there a and this would be another show, but is there like a paper way to do it where it's like 20 cents to get your cost down?
I don't know that there's a paper way to do it other than right like Tetra Pak, but there you get into the availability and the MOQs because it's a highly specific packaging type. Um,
Gotcha.
there are and God, I haven't priced these in years. Ryan might know off the top of his head, but there are those PET cans,
Yeah.
right? Um, the plastic ones.
Yeah.
I assume those are still fully or almost fully recyclable. I don't know from a cost perspective if they're better or worse than aluminum right now. Um, I'd be curious, but I mean, to your point, I'm sure somebody will come out with something because it's right. Like I think somebody the other day quoted me just under 15 cents for a 12-ounce sleek can, which is not horrible, but it's not
Yeah.
as good as it used to be, right? Um, and it's not going to go down anytime soon, at least not from anything I'm seeing. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, look, everybody, we're going to say goodbye, I guess. I thought this is a great conversation. We had it unplanned. It was totally just by the seat of our pants this morning because but I thought WSWA and what's in the news is really appropriate. You'll find Adam, myself, and our friend Kogs. I think I said that right. Robert Kogan bringing you the daily industry brief from us. So really appreciate everybody showing. Adam, remain on the line so we make sure that we do our upload. And thanks everyone for joining us on this Saturday. I know we call, let's see, Robert, Ryan, let's see here, Jay Williams, Dave Moore, Jeff from Brantarctica, let's see, Alicia, Dave Moore again. I didn't see Alicia on here, by the way. Never saw her pop up on my screen, so she must be hiding
Oh,
from me.
weird. Yeah, she was in the comments a few times.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she's blocked me for some reason. But thanks everybody. Have a great Saturday. We'll see you actually next Thursday. We're gonna have a nice whiskey on. Victor
Mm-hmm.
Whiskey, I believe, out of Miami, is gonna come on with us. So see ya.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.